Hello and welcome to your number one resource for what? I mean, what are we at this point?
I have no idea.
Updating people about what cats have been lost or murdered.
We're your number one resource for your number 7 podcast in entertainment and leisure.
Can we just become some other podcast's news report? So when they release an episode, we just talk about their episode.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't want to get technical about it, we haven't technically done original reporting on here since the Greg Cassavan interview. The news section is us reading other people's newses out loud. Did I just say newses?
What podcast should we become a podcast about?
Well, the subtitle these days is an okay podcast, so
we need to find an okay podcast that matches our level.
We're the number one okay podcast.
Oh,
It works, right?
I don't feel confident claiming that.
Really? Because I love it.
We should just do like a huge genre change. There's a huge genre change. Just go into ghost stories or some shit like that.
Sure. Next week. Coming next week, Liam talks about yokai from Japan. George talks about Atlanta's dark history past. And Matt just rides with crazy Ghostbusters in old abandoned Californian houses.
We can have an episode about, the political situation, the divide.
Oh God!
People want to listen to that.
It
right?
always comes back to that, huh, George?
Never ending.
Yeah, we got to pull me away.
Always comes back.
So how you guys doing this week? I can't say it's been a very eventful week for myself, but
no, me either. We're sliding into the year now. We're we're the second month in already of 2021,
and I feel finally used to it at this point. I almost feel like some of the terror has been lifted. I mean, my mom's getting her vaccines in order. People I know in my life are starting to.
My mom also had the vaccine.
Go moms.
Yeah.
And daughters. And decent podcasts.
And okay podcasts. Not decent. Decent's too high. Just okay. In English slang, decent means pretty decent. Surprisingly good. So
the White House press secretary is not doing the job at 4 a.m. on Twitter on the toilet in the morning, which is just better.
Unlike us in podcasting. We're doing an okay podcast from 4 a.m. on a toilet.
But my sleep schedule is still 2020-ish. I'm still doing my work at 4 a.m. on the toilet in the early morning hours, and that's something that I still need.
Do you feel yet that 2020 is 2021 is DLC for 2020? Or do you think things are finally calming down, that maybe it's just an expansion?
Even DLC is a better deal than this shit.
Yeah. Last year was quite a mess.
Do you feel so far that this one's tamed itself a little? Or still is rough?
I swear there is actually more value in terms of human beings who did labor providing something for you to enjoy as a consumer when you buy a fucking Modern Warfare 2 map pack than a $400 a month silver plan ACA health insurance premium over here. I don't know where that money goes to. I don't know why it costs this industry $400 a month to get me an $8,000 deductible for my insurance. That feels like a worse fucking scam than DLC.
I don't even know what Americans are talking about half the time when they say nonsense like that. You're just saying words. And at this point, all I know is that it means money.
We have learned a lot of nonsense money words over the past week, thanks to GameStop teaching us all about stocks.
Hold your diamond hands, boys. Hold.
Okay, that might be a fun small talk question. Did you guys try to get into it at all? Did you guys try to get into the stock game over the past week? Because I did a little bit.
I tried to invest in some Dogecoin.
I can't believe this is an actual sentence.
Imagine being a British citizen under the jurisdiction of Brexit, yet living on the other side of the planet in a foreign Asian country. Yeah,
so you were having trouble because of your Japanese country of residence.
And also Brexit.
Okay. This is a story time. You got to explain this to us because we don't know.
I tried multiple different brokers or like brokerages, especially ones that do international but trade in American markets, like interactive brokers. And you have to send so much tax information from like Japan, but also your country of origin, citizenship. And obviously because Brexit happened, like there's a lot of trading laws that have changed because we're not a part of the EU anymore. Therefore, apps like Revolt, which is a British focused app, changed so you can't even freaking trade anymore on the app. Even though our good Discord buddy Massimo was trading from Russia in American markets with the app. For some reason, because of Brexit, I could not. And also being in Japan meant I had to give over a little tax information, which was just bothersome. And I didn't end up successfully investing in any dogs or their coins.
You can't just buy? You can't just buy from like Cash App or something?
No,
that doesn't make any sense to me.
No,
I can't believe that Cash App has had stocks this whole time. That is hilarious.
It's like a good way to buy like Bitcoin too. It's like nice and easy for people getting in.
It's been in front of our faces this whole time.
How much Bitcoin could you afford though? Like 0.0005 of a Bitcoin.
They're like $30,000 each, right?
Yeah.
Well, like the whole thing was that I didn't know you could buy only a fraction of this stuff. So I am now the not so proud owner of whatever $30 of Sony buys you on Robinhood. I didn't go with any of the meme stocks. Both GameStop and AMC and Dogecoin were a bit too expensive for me to be buying in the days when I was. And also, I was expecting the bubble to burst any day from now, so I didn't feel that they were safe at that point.
Which it did.
Sony, on the other hand, has gone up a whole 40 cents since I bought it. So I'll have you guys know that I am getting rich slowly.
How much was the share when you bought it?
I don't remember how much the share was. I just know I bought $30 because that was how much I was willing to gamble on the Robinhood casino, which apparently is no good anymore. Since the last time we recorded this a week ago, Robinhood has gone from like the savior of the middle class to public enemy number one. After one disastrous move.
Well, when you stop people from buying whatever they want on the stock market,
their memes.
You're gonna get fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, my Sony stock is going up a little bit by the day. I'm sure that will really change my life in a few years after it grows up totally. Yeah, besides that, I was just really surprised at how sketchily easily they make it. Like you have to press the agree button on like 3 different long forms on there. You have to give them your social security number. But once you're in, you're in.
No, completely different to my experience. I had to give up so much information.
Right.
It was not cool. I mean,
Yeah.
It was reassuring, I guess, but not.
I use M1 Finance and I can just throw money at it at that point. You go through you could go through a beginning form thing and you can open up a Roth.
See, I can't use Look, I'm trying with Cash App right now and I can't use it because I'm not in the UK and I don't have a UK bank account anymore. Fuck's sake. Fuck all this.
So what's the difference between M1 Finance and Robinhood and the others?
To be honest, I wouldn't be able to answer that question. Like, listen, I just like it better. There's I got into it because of the way it looked. And how easy it was to track things. It showed you all the news. It showed you just different graphs of how the market was going.
So easy to press a button to send all your money away.
Mm-hmm. You can create like little pies of your investment portfolio.
Yum.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Nom, 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 nom.
Yeah. It's that's how I view it. Like Robinhood, it's like I don't like apps that says, "Oh, you get a free stock if you sign up." I don't like apps that do stuff like that. Like I want a professional fucking app. You know, I'm putting my money in it.
I did get a free stock from a friend referral. Like we were on a Discord call with each other, signing up for it together, and they send you a free stock if you do a referral link. And there's a little graphic that'll say like you have a 1 in 2,000 chance of getting Apple, and we sure as hell did not get Apple.
Yeah, no.
I'm looking up the name of the free stonk that I got right now, and I'll have a giggle when I finally get to the Robinhood desktop loading page, which is a little cumbersome.
When I had Robinhood, I think I got like some gas station or some shit like that.
I mean,
something that was worth like $3. It was like $3.40.
Everyone needs to get gas. You know,
yeah.
All of the friends I have who investigate, they keep talking about weed. They're like, just invest in weed right now.
Weed, huh?
The more states that legalize it as you go along, the more it's going to be worth. And then just like invest in weed.
What stock is weed?
Like, you guys live in Japan. How the fuck can you do this? How can you invest in something illegal in this country? Oh my god, so weird.
Yeah, that sounds like in Japan. You might get fired for investing into weed stonks in your own time. They're super duper strict on that, aren't they?
I don't think they care about you investing in the American market.
Oh wow, there's a lot of them, huh? Top marijuana stocks. Wow, there's so many of them though.
There you go.
They're really cheap too.
Okay. So I am the proud owner of
Did you buy some weed stock, George?
Sony. No, I didn't get weed stock. I did get Limelight Networks, which has gone down since they gave it to me for free. Thanks, Robinhood. Limelight Networks is an American company that provides content delivery network service used for delivery digital media and software. What? So do they make like video players or something? I don't know, but my free stock is in some technology company that I guess is hard to describe quickly.
Yeah,
I can't believe we've talked about this for 12 minutes.
Okay, yeah. It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit off topic, huh?
I mean, it is technically the hot topic, but...
You guys know how Robinhood suspended trading of GameStop and AMC, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I was on the phone. I was on Discord with my friend Ali setting this stuff up, and he actually bought AMC while they were canceling it. Like literally 1 minute he was like, okay, I just got $30 of AMC, and then I on the other hand replied, wait, it's not letting me do that. So like, and the thing is, as soon as he got it too, it immediately started depreciating. Like that was right when the bubble, the hill started cresting over the edge. One thing that I think is kind of funny here is that it does feel like a game. There's some beautiful irony here that the stock in question is GameStop, and the dilemma in question of like, the prisoner's dilemma. Everyone's going to go to jail, so you like question the individual players how they can all work together to mitigate the effects, and that's like what the investors are doing. Like they are gaming the stock market around GameStop. It's ironic. It's hilarious. They're playing by the rules. They're basically coordinating a big, massive cooperative strategy like an MMO raid or something. It's cute.
Hold the line.
What have you guys played this week?
Oh fuck! There we go.
Back to
back to reality here.
Oh god, it stings. I hate reality.
Matt, I want to talk more about what you were asking me about today, because I'm always up for that.
Whoa, you talking about Skul?
I'm talking about Skul, baby.
Skul the Hero Slayer. Man.
Skul the Game Slayer.
Yeah, I jumped into this a couple days ago, and I'm usually like, I have to be in a certain mood for any roguelike. Like I hate repeating the same thing over and over and over again. But this was fun.
Yay!
This was fun. There's some things I don't like about it though. Like I feel like the chance of you getting that, I feel like the only way to progress is to get you that really good skull. And yeah, like you were talking about the werewolf and stuff like that, but I feel like it's not strong enough. And if you invest in upgrading it even more than once, you would actually have to go into skull rooms in order to in order to upgrade it. You can't just get skulls randomly. You know what I mean?
I mean, you can, right? You can choose the specific green rooms, right? Like
that's what I'm saying.
different-
But you also, that's a trade-off there. Then you won't get any money. So like whatever you choose.
I mean, you get money
like,
for killing people. You just get more money when you go into gold rooms, right?
Way more money, like significantly more money. Like to the point that you won't be able to buy anything unless you go into the gold rooms later on.
But for example, it depends on your run, right? So if you start out or you find a skull that you're kind of happy with, I think early on, then you just... The one thing I started doing was I started using some of the earlier skulls and seeing how far I could push them. For example, my favorite is the werewolf of all the early skulls because it's cheap to upgrade with the bones from the sexy spider, right?
Whoa.
And then I find buy every item that has physical attack damage up and also speed.
Speaking of fun sentences to say.
Sexy spider. Buying bones giving a thick bone to a sexy spider.
Oh God. Oh, Jesus.
That's funny, actually. Twitch still has not approved my thick bone emote, which is upsetting.
Oh.
But so I think you just have to experiment a bit more with maybe the earlier skulls. Like, I think there are a couple of really good ones. The Ent, like the little tree guy, physical damage on him.
I hate that thing.
He hits really hard. I think he's great. The werewolf, if you get speed and physical attack, physical damage, then
that's the one I use a lot. That's the only one I really. The sword is okay too, but the werewolf is. If you get the one that he dashes 3 times, it's just way better than anything there.
Yeah. So have you saved a lot of the NPCs? Do you have like the ogre and everybody to give you a skull in the beginning?
I've only 2 extra. That's it. That's the only ones you get before you get to the sisters. And the sisters is what the roadblock I have. Everyone else is pretty easy.
Do you have the one who gives you a skull, right?
Yeah. The skull and then the random piece. Yeah.
Okay, there's one more guy who you'll meet in the 3rd biome who gives you like a buff to start with as well. I also imagine you're talking to the witch, right? And putting all the dark quartz into... Oh,
yeah, of course. Of course.
All right.
Yeah. It makes everything else a breeze. I'm assuming there's going to be a bubble that bursts that sister fight is going to be really easy at some point. Especially, I think as soon as I pass the sisters, I'm going to have the next guy, the next NPC. And I'm probably going to start getting better skulls from that guy in the beginning if I reach far enough.
Well, you can also pay him. You can also pay him for a second skull.
Yeah, and get a second one.
It's better.
It's usually the same. I've restarted multiple times to see what happens. And it's only the first tier skulls until I'm assuming later in the game where you start getting like some of the really fucking cool skulls. Like the one with the being a rock star one.
It's so
what
good.
The fuck?
I love
you
it.
literally play the guitar, and if you it's like a 30 second cooldown, but if you reach the full bar after keep tapping it,
build up the passive.
There's a band that plays. Yeah, it's just like what? And then you have you can drop a speaker.
Even better is the rock star is inspired by an anime character, which is even cooler. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Exact makeup and hair and guitar and everything. Krauser-sama from Detroit Metal City, which is fucking amazing.
Detroit Metal City. Man, I've
so
never
good. Yeah. It's awesome. So then I think and Rockstar is a pretty mediocre skull, really.
But
compared
he's so fun though.
Yeah, he's so fun.
I want more fun skulls like that. Like a lot of the other ones are really fun.
So like the Rider and
the Rider is one of my favorite because you can just kill everything on the map.
Everything. I think that's how. So the first time I came across the sisters because I couldn't beat the first boss for a while. And when I first came, I had a really good run where I beat the first boss for the first time, and then I went straight through the second area, and I had one of the really powerful rare quintessences. You know, the triggerable orb things that you have. And I think it was Susanino, Susuino, I think it is. It's like the samurai. Oh no, it wasn't. It was the 4 horseman riders It's this one that just calls in like a portal that all these horses and like horsemen ride in and just absolutely annihilate everything on the screen. It's fucking amazing.
Oh shit!
And it was, I used it on the
one.
sisters, and I got through it. It was so good. There's a couple really powerful. If you ever see like the orbs with like kind of like a rarity thing around it, like it's
no, yeah, I got that. Yeah. I've used that one.
Yeah,
that one was insanely powerful. Yeah.
So
the
just always
legendaries,
pick up the rare ones because they're so fun. There's like a samurai that when it like bursts out and then like cuts everybody on the screen. Oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah,
so,
I had
so,
one
so
that
good.
had the blue orbs that just follow everyone and just like mega damage.
Yeah.
I almost killed the sisters last night after talking to you. It was like the bar was this small, dude. And I had the dark paladin, and I was like, I just need one more. And then she goes down, and all of a sudden started doing the wave thing. Every time she jumps out, and I wasn't expecting it. And I was like, son of a bitch.
So I love using faster characters against her because you can dash through them. So with the werewolf, for example, you can, when the waves come, you don't have to jump over them, but you can dash through them. And with the werewolf, usually by that point you've got about 3 dashes. And you just dash through them to her, use your like trigger debility, and usually deal damage. The sisters are a pain in the ass because getting through the first phase isn't hard, but avoiding taking enough damage to survive through the second is real tough. So
it's real tough. It's always the second phase. The second phase is ridiculous because like you have to dash at the appropriate time, and sometimes you really can't avoid some of these attacks unless you like really know the timing of the one that slashes the entire screen, or you get lucky with the position of those. Like, all right, for people who don't know, like, I mean,
the
you
sisters
talked
are
about
the
this last
second
week,
boss.
right? Yeah. No, is it the second boss?
It's the second boss.
Second major boss. Okay.
Yeah. So there are these mini bosses, which are like these heroes that get EXP and get stronger if you get defeated by them. But yeah, they're like the mini bosses, right? And but the main biome bosses, like the second area bosses, these 2 twin sisters, and they're fast and a pain in the ass. They cut the screen up like anime characters.
Yeah. It's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. What gets me playing, what gets me going is obviously having a tree that you're investing in, because at this point, you're not doing anything if you just keep dying. I do like some type of permanency for these types of games. And the skulls, dude. The skulls
are so good. It's so good. There's 70 of them. I think I've seen maybe 12 to 15 so far.
That's it? Wait, maybe I have only seen a couple too. Maybe like 20 or so?
70.
Maybe
total.
less than that.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's come to think about it. Yeah, you're right.
Like the really good ones I've seen, like the Grim Reaper, the Dark Alchemist, the Genie, the other Alchemist. My favorite was the Dark Alchemist. I think that's what he's called. Which he like summons these purple chains and just shreds damage through people. Oh god, it's so good.
Damn.
So good.
Yeah, I've been getting to the magic damage ones. Those are pretty ridiculous, man.
I want it on Switch right now.
Yeah, it's a good game to have on Switch, yeah.
Like I have to play it on my PC, and right now I'm just too tired to like sit here and play it. I want it on my couch, and I just want to play like repetitively on my couch. It's so good. I'm still really obsessed with it.
I've played Dead Cells. There's a way to like recover a run, you know? Like you never feel like you have to restart, right? Or you're wasting your time with Dead Cells. Like it feels like you always end up getting something cool, right? Because there's so many, there's like 2 slots for you for 2 weapons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And some other stuff that you can grab. It just works well. But with Skul, it seems like if you just don't have the right Skul with the right stuff, and you don't have enough money to buy the stuff that you need, like you just have to play well. You have to make the right decisions. You know what I mean?
I think so. I think in terms of like actual progression, but I think in the larger meta game of the things, I think it's very similar to Dead Cells because you can get lots of dark quartz so you can build up that tree, but also saving NPCs and having them affect like giving you buffs and stuff in the very beginning. So even if maybe your run is not going so great, at least you can keep pushing to try and find more things. That's what I like about it. The one thing I hate about Dead Cells is the weapons never felt that different to me. Whereas in Skul, they're straight up like different characters. And I always keep pushing in the hope that I'll see a new skull that then will like save me or something. Like when you turn up and you're like on half health or something and you're like really deep into the second biome or something. And then all of a sudden you get the Grim Reaper and you're like, oh, I can do this. I can do this. And you won't do it, but it does give like a renewed sense of.
It does, yeah. When you see a legendary skull drop, and you're like, you haven't seen
so
before.
Good.
You're like, wait, let me see the stats on this. Wait, okay, physical damage. Oh, I got a few. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, 2 skills. Oh, yeah.
Oh, like, it's so good.
It's dope. You got like a One Punch Man guy that I was using that does like mega damage.
I've never even seen it.
It's like 1-inch punch. He doesn't look like One Punch Man, but like
the mummy who's like a metal slug, like inspired thing. Oh man, some of them are just really, really fucking smart. I really like it.
Yeah, they're really, really good. Yeah, you start to realize though, like some of those later skulls are so much better than the shitty skulls you get in the beginning.
Yeah, you realize like you need one good skull to like one good like all round skull to keep you going to switch to, but then you have like your shit skull or your experimental skull on the other one. You maybe swap between them because some of the powers for swapping is really good. Like I didn't swap in the beginning at all. I would just stick with the skull I really liked, and you can totally do that. But I did find that after a while, swapping, especially the passives, like where you can stun enemies around you or cause electricity and stuff like that, was just so powerful. So I would swap to the shit skull, attack for a bit, wait for the recharge on the new skull, swap back, and I got into the habit of swapping more often.
And that's like part of my issue. Like my issue meaning like the way my play style is and how I want to play, and the game's just like, no, you have to play this way. And I get that. I should probably switch skulls. I should probably only, not just like put all my eggs in one basket. This is like, I just want to, I like that good skull, and I just want to keep that good skull, and and that's it. I'm good, and probably just eat the other one.
Yeah.
But like, I never get that lucky where you get like too physical, So there's a physical and then maybe some weird off skull. That's just like not useful. Sometimes I get lucky and I get like 2 really good skulls and I'm like, oh shit, this is dope.
Yeah.
But like you get like a physical and then a magic, and you already put like a bunch of items on your character that are all physical damage. Yeah. They're just like useless on the magic damage guy. But yeah. Like there's stuff like that just kind of like, oh.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. And that's the thing is, even when you get a really good skull and you check and you're like, oh fuck, I have no items that will buff this to be good, and you're like, god damn it, but you gotta try anyway. I love experimenting with them. I think that's one of the great things about it. It just makes me want to try lots of skulls. Like I would risk my run just so I could play with a new thing that came up, and even if I hated it in the end, I'm just so glad I tried it, and I'm building up my information like that, that meta information database in my head of like, don't pick that one ever again.
You get so used to it that it is pretty quick to get back up to like where you were. I wish you could skip cutscenes for mini bosses and bosses though, not gonna lie. Other than that, you can really get to a place really quick. Like I grab things, go through I'm like speed running the thing just so I can get back to like the sisters or see what skull I can get. Or
I usually have an aim for the first biome now, whether it's I want to get cash or I want to like get a skull I'm comfortable with, and then I always go for the treasure usually in the first biome. You're bound to get one skull at least that is decent enough to keep going with, and I think I can get past Yggdrasil pretty fast. So, and his dodge now is super easy, especially if you have something like the werewolf. Just that double dodge. Oof.
I just get the werewolf, get a bunch of coin, build my guy up, and then later on I start going to Skull once, because at that point you just have like a full build. And you just hope that you get like a berserker or any of those, like a predator skull as well. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Fuck, this game is so good, man. I really, really like it.
It's I think a lot of people would like it. It's very luck based, very luck based. So if you just want to dive into a game and just enjoy the random bits of it, I think this is a good one. Especially, it seems like
it's not really any bullshit either. I don't think so.
It's not long, is it?
No.
Okay. Yeah, because like it seems like I mean, we still got to reach like the hero, right? Like the hero that we saw in the beginning.
I think maybe
I haven't seen any more cutscenes.
4 biomes total.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm probably gonna go straight for it.
I've got to the end of the third one, which is the Alchemist. I think so, anyway.
Oh, okay. So you have like one more after that. Okay, cool.
I think so. Cool. I'd have to check the wiki and have a look.
I think there's a speed run for 15 minutes. So
holy shit.
Yeah. So
yeah, my runs are usually about
short.
30 minutes. Usually 20 to 30 minutes.
So if you get all the monies and you get everything you need, you're probably gonna beat it within an hour. So it's an hour-ish game for regular people.
Oh yeah.
Like us.
Okay, so there's 5 total.
5 biomes. That's not bad. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I'm obsessed with this game. I really do. It doesn't seem bullshit to me either. Like, the game makes you feel powerful, and then you're tested. The game does this smart thing where it allows you to, like, break your skull in, right? As weird as that sounds, right? Break a skull in. But you're allowed to be powerful, and there are lots of really dodgy enemies that can be frustrating, right? But ultimately, you are way more powerful than any of the enemies. So it allows you to experiment with all your skull powers before you reach a boss, which then it tests you on what you've been doing learning your skull, right? So I feel if the game was kind of a bit more difficult like other roguelikes, and you had to really, figure out the other enemies and the biomes and like sort of take it easy and maybe not spam your powers like you do in Skull, then maybe by the time you reach the boss, you wouldn't have the abilities or the knowledge already that you do by spamming all the abilities all the time.
Yeah.
So I feel like the only time the game really tests you is during the bosses. And even then, I don't feel that shitty. But in terms of like roguelike bullshitness, this is like on the lower end of the scale. Yes, you got to deal with some RNG nonsense sometimes. But I really think compared to other roguelikes that are just unfair because you have to like have completely precise inputs to dodge something, or you've got such low health it doesn't matter. This game's way more fun, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's I definitely feel different about it after like a couple hours. Like, it seems like in the beginning it feels a little slow-ish, and you get to that first boss and all of a sudden it's like, damn, man, I'm really underpowered. And then you get that good skull and you just breeze through one good time and you get all those quartz. You're like done. Like, you start to understand the game after that. But yeah, like after that, it's just so like
good. Oh my god, I just looked up all the characters on the wiki. Oh man, so good.
Why do you guys think more people aren't talking about this game so much?
See, somebody said that the other day. And then they retweeted their own tweet after looking at the Steam page. Mm-hmm. Skull has 12,000 reviews on Steam.
That's decent. That seems like
it's a lot. That's healthy.
Yeah.
But that's got to be going towards 250,000 copies sold. Like,
that's a healthy.
Okay.
It's a very, very, very,
that was in
very,
early access
very
too.
Healthy. It sold 100,000 during its first weekend. So it's absolutely doing really well. And I think because it's a Korean game, maybe it didn't it wasn't marketed very well in the beginning to the West, but it's got reviews from IGN and GameSpot and stuff, and they're all giving it, 8s and 9s. And it's sold a fucking metric butt ton. So already, it's still 20% off if people are interested. Seriously, for $16, this game is dope.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like you Like, have you guys already discovered a Game of the Year 2021 contender? Because you freaking love this stuff. It's been weeks at this point.
Yeah, I've been playing it for at least 3 weeks now, and well, maybe 2 or 3 weeks now, and man, it's just this weird game where it keeps throwing stuff at you. It's not like Hades is great in the fact that you unlock the weapons over time, right, and then you adjust them by adding more buffs to them. But this literally, it's like, imagine if you were playing a Street Fighter roguelike, right, and you start out with Ryu. And then as you go along, you unlock other characters that you can swap to while on a run. It's so cool.
That sounds fun.
It's so cool. It's really fun.
I haven't seen as many people mention this, but like Hades does have that difficulty wall. There's almost a legit problem with like how much harder the game gets 3/4 of the way through the run, and then kind of eases up for the last bit of the run. If there's no equivalent to that Minotaur wall here, then that's...
I haven't got to the last biomes.
I don't think it was that bad. I think Hades was pretty easy compared to Skul, to be honest.
I'm the opposite.
Yeah, I was hearing it the other way.
Now, the Sisters is a wall. The Sisters is a fucking wall. Because at least in the Minotaur fight, you can dodge everything. You can just do a certain build and literally it becomes a cakewalk fight, dude. Like, it's a cakewalk fight.
I wish I had known that build.
That's the difference, right? With Hades, you go into it knowing exactly what you want to do because you pre-build, you go in with the weapon you want and the build you want. Whereas in Skul, it is luck of the draw about what you're going to do. But if you're smart enough and you understand Skulls a bit, you're eventually going to be able to like, oh, right, okay, I started out with this one. Kind of know where I'm going, or at least I know where I can go to with this power, and then hope along that you get stuff like the Arch Lich or the Grim Reaper or something like that.
Yeah, but that's luck. That's all luck. That's the thing. Like, if you don't get it, you don't.
If you don't get it,
don't win. You don't win. Like, that's, if you get a unlucky run, you automatically suck. And I'm fully aware if I would take the blame and say, Matt, you're getting owed. Maybe you just don't have the twitchy fingers as you used to, but holy shit. When RNG is that crazy and you reach that like wall, you're just like, oh no, I can't climb this shit. Hades, you literally have your weapon straight right there. You're like, okay, I can't beat this fight. Let me try this weapon. That's literally all you do. Like, that's why Hades is a lot easier, and it's made for you to beat the game multiple times.
Yeah, the narrative only works. Yeah.
For that game, it makes sense to me. That game makes sense to me, and I guess that's why I can kind of go through it. So it's not like it's random, but it's not too random. You kind of know where you can kind of you can salvage a run most of the time. But yeah.
Yeah.
George, you're just getting old like me.
I'm getting old.
You're getting old.
I according to the science, it's 25 when your gamer reflexes are supposed to start.
Oh, boys, we're way past our sell by date here.
Mm-hmm.
We're spoiled milk, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
When I was 25, I celebrated the occasion by playing Metal Gear Solid Revengeance all the way through on Revengeance difficulty. And I wonder if when I hit 35...
If you could do it now.
Maybe I should do a 10-year anniversary and compare the footage, see how much worse it got.
So I've played two 2D pixel platforming games that heavily focus on platforming and combat. Very different games, but they're 2D platforming. One I can't talk about too much because I'm incredibly biased about it, which is Aliyah, which was developed here in Kyoto. So I don't want to talk about that. I was having a good time with it, though. It has a magical harpoon that you throw about and you can fly great, and it's awesome. That's by the by, because I think I'm incredibly biased on that one. I'm very proud of Tamar for releasing it. So the other one I wanted to talk about, which is one I've been streaming, is called Cyber Shadow. I'm sure you guys might have seen it this week. Game came out, one of the first games published by Yacht Club Games that they didn't.
Oh yeah, the Shovel Knight company.
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, they supported development, but they didn't develop it themselves. It was developed by one guy called Mecha Skull.
Looks like it's going for a Shovel Knight thing. It looks like an NES game.
Yes. So it's essentially what Shovel Knight was, but Ninja Gaiden.
Oh yeah! Wow! Holy shit!
It looks great. It's awesome. Where to start and how to... This is the game I wanted to play more of before I talked about it, because I started out pretty much not liking it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reviews are only mostly positive.
Yeah.
And then I've grown to like it. And that is not by Stockholm Syndrome of like sticking with it and growing to like it, but actually because the game gets better in its design as it goes on, which is really frustrating because the 2 intro levels of the game are some stupid bullshit. for lack of a better word. I know a lot of people are enjoying this game, but the first 2 levels are some straight up fucking annoying ass bullshit. Like, it's so annoying. It does this thing where you're this cyber ninja, right? And you're running and platforming, and the platforming feels pretty decent. The movement, though, is nothing like The Messenger. The Messenger, if you played The Messenger, is the closest game. If you've played that, you know what to expect from this. But imagine the platforming to be a lot more simple than The Messenger. The movement in the beginning is very simple. It's jumping on platforms, but you can only strike your sword like, in a horizontal line. Okay, so like straight out in front of you, typical NES attack, right? It doesn't like curve up. You can't hit upwards. You can't hit down. You can only hit in front of you.
Oh
right?
God. Yeah.
So you're swiping right in front of you. And the game has these insects as some of the first enemies. And the insects do a really frustrating thing where they move in circle patterns. Okay? So kind of like Castlevania, kind of like old NES games. But they move underneath platforms and through them and target like underneath the character in areas where you as the player cannot hit.
Ooh.
Like really purposely annoying design to be artificially difficult that frustrated the hell out of me. It completely put me off wanting to play the game. Because at the same time, the platforming, while is pretty simple, if you get knocked back, so if you get hit by these tiny insects, you get knocked back, right? Like you would in games. But you get knocked back off platforms, so you die. There's like, if you fall off platforms, it's kind of like Mario. Most of them kill you in one hit. There's like electricity and stuff like that. But what's so frustrating is the reason knockback was ever made was so that players could get hit backwards and be safe to sort of, get themselves back reorientated before tackling the enemy that knocked them back, right?
Yeah.
The idea is that you don't get hit again. You either jump over it or whatever. But in this game, no. Knockback is purposely to fuck with your platforming or to put you in bad situations. And it's so frustrating because you can't hit these enemies very well because they fly in circle patterns in like a 360 motion, on a 2D plane. So, you're in a circle on the screen, but you as the ninja can only hit in front of you, and the hitbox is pretty tiny. It's like a little samurai sword in front of you, like a katana. So half the time you're spending just trying to move back on these tiny platforms, like turning around, jumping backwards, so you can kind of hit at the ground to try and hit these fucking bugs. This is so annoying. And then what made it even worse is they made bugs that when you hit the bug, 2 smaller bugs with the same movement pop out. So not only then are you dealing with the one fucking big bug that's causing you stress anyway, you pop that fucker, and then 2 new bugs come through and then start floating around in circle patterns around you that both are tiny, yet if you get hit by them, they knock you back all the same. Oh God, it's so fucking annoying. Honestly, the first 2 levels of that game, I hated. I really was just like, this sucks. I don't want to play it. I'm so annoyed. Because the game itself seems pretty cool. But because I was streaming it, I pressed on and I got through in the end. And then I started getting more powers. Nothing great. Like, they give... unlike Skul and other things, or even Hades, right? There you have, like, flames in Cyber Shadow, and you use the flame gauge to do these special attacks. So even though you can only ever hit straight, like, you can then end up getting powers that use up like an energy bar, these flame energy things, which is annoying. Just let me do the powers because they're fun. Like, it's so frustrating when games do that. So then you have to be a bit careful about that. But then the platforms start to open up and there's a bit more movement. And then the enemies are not so annoying after that. Once they drop the whole insect bug floating bullshit, they introduced like synthetic ninjas with guns. And you're like, okay, this is more like it, right? And it's still not getting easier. It's still pretty difficult, but at least you don't feel like you're getting bullshitted like by enemy patterns that you just can't hit because the game just arbitrarily is like, lol, you can't hit your feet because your sword only moves on the x-axis. Good job. But then it introduces like a new power called the Swag Blade, and then I'm kind of like, this is all right.
Wait, is it actually called the Swag Blade?
It's called the Swag Blade.
You've got to
That's
be
cute.
kidding me.
That's real cute.
I will allow you to guess one guess about what you think the Swag Blade is.
Your clothes change to
Are
something
you-
a little bit more swaggy than.
Are you hitting them with a snapback baseball cap that still has the sticker on it?
Ooh,
Yeah,
you're both close guesses.
That's
But,
racist.
Wait, what? How is it racist?
I'm going to quickly transition from that into what the Swag Blade actually is, which is it's a blade that is attached to you by a chain, but it flies around in a 360 motion. And then if you time it correctly, when it comes around near your sword, you can fucking slap it with your sword like a baseball into enemies like a death pendulum. And it's like playing tennis, and it snaps back at you, and you can hit them again. And that's when it becomes fun. Your sword can still only ever hit on the fucking x-axis unless you use specials, which is so annoying. So annoying. Don't do that.
I was imagining a circular-shaped object.
But, well, yes, it's like a big death pendulum that you play tennis with, and it's great. So long live the Swag Blade.
Yeah.
But now I'm almost finished with it. I think I only have like 2 stages left. It's hard. It is not Ninja Gaiden hard, which is just NES nonsense. Some of the checkpoints in this game are kind of bullshit, but they're not Panzer Paladin checkpoint bullshit, which was awful. I think this game is better than Panzer Paladin. I'm definitely having more fun now. I just wish those 2 levels at the beginning were just different, just completely different. The insect bugs are so annoying, and the game hasn't given you anything to be able to deal with them. It's so stupid.
That sounded like a genuine AVGN rant. The talk about the insect bugs that spew out too.
I'm happy to put myself out there to James Rolfe and say, if you ever make a video on Cyber Shadow, I will happily come on and say that the first 2 stages of that game are complete horseshit.
What a donkey load of doo-doo ass poop.
Yeah, this is
That.
it's not my type of game.
People are probably screaming like, get good, right? Why did you not so good?
No.
Well, I can't get good if my fucking sword won't hit something that's coming underneath the floor through a platform I cannot go through. It's like, imagine just playing Shovel Knight and all of a sudden all the enemies just come up from underneath your shovel, right? Underneath the platform that you can't put your shovel through and just start attacking you just where you can't hit them. It's so annoying. They move, and they're not like perfect circular motions either. It's like offset circular motions that change. So sometimes it'll home in on you, and then when you miss it, it'll fly away, and then sometimes it'll like rotate back on itself, and you think, that's not a consistent pattern. What is it doing? It doesn't move in like diagonal stuff to you. Oh god, it's so annoying.
What were they thinking? Get
What
it
were
together, game developers.
devs. Look, from one game to another, mad respect, you made it to yourself, but delete those first 2 stages.
Oh shit!
Jeez.
Like,
Wow.
just make one better enemy. One. Honestly. Oh god, thank god I got a rant about that, because fuck me. I was so upset on the stream. Well, thank you guys. I'm gonna finish it because it's not that long.
Oh really? Okay. So you're gonna finish that, but not all the other games.
It's 4 or 5 hours. Hey, I'm gonna finish Skul because I'm gonna get there eventually because I'm playing it so much. I'm gonna finish Aaliyah. I'm gonna finish that. They're 4 or 5 hours. It's great. Just more games like that, please. Not like the insects, but like the length. That's fine.
Yeah, that's the perfect length.
More 4 to 5 hour games. I'm loving you. Get over here. Well, Cyber Shadow, it's free. It's free, Matt. It's free. It's on our favorite free platform.
Oh, really? Is it?
It's on Xbox Game Pass. Our favorite free platform.
Hilarious.
Nice.
Very, very funny joke.
Um,
It's actually like $10 to $15 a month, depending on what kind of deal you sign up for.
$12 to $15 for Final Fantasy 12, which comes out soon on it. So hell yeah.
yeah, if anyone beats that, let me know. Tell me how it is. Tell me if it's worth me jumping back on that thing.
I mean, I still have a PlayStation 2 DVD of that game sitting in the other room. So if you haven't ever picked up Final Fantasy 12 at any point over the past 16 years, then I guess
Look, let's be honest.
Now's
right?
your big moment.
Xbox
All
Game
that
Pass.
waiting paid off.
Xbox Game Pass, right? Just released all of the Yakuza games on there. Apart from 7, of course.
Holy shit.
And Final Fantasy 12 is coming. In literally just the last 2 releases alone, you could literally have games for 3 years.
Because Yakuza take forever.
And Final Fantasy 12 takes forever.
Can I just jump in at 7 at this point?
Yes.
Because, like, I know the gist. I've played the beginnings of 1 and 3 and 4. I feel like I shouldn't have to complete.
No, just play 7. Not to say they're not good. Just 7 is so different.
Either 0 or 7. That they're the 2 places you start now.
7 sounds like it might be the new highlight of the series. Like
Yeah,
the
it is.
brightest moment
Yes.
after so many years.
It is.
So good.
But if you just
fucking
jump into
good.
7 and don't play the others, then you kind of miss out on that Kazuma Kiryu buzz.
So,
So,
you know how I left a little bit, right? I'm just going to talk low here. You know how I left a second ago, right? I wanted to check because I kept hearing door slams over and over again.
Okay.
And I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? Did he leave or something like that? I say door slammed. I'm not talking about like 9 or 10. I'm talking about like maybe like 3 or 4. And it's like, it's definitely inside this apartment that I'm hearing that. So I go out and he's just on the couch. So it's either we have a crazy downstairs, which I've never been able to hear their door, or this dude is angry that I'm recording on a Wednesday and he's trying to sleep. He's closing the fucking door every time he goes inside of his room. And I don't understand what is happening. What is happening? Why so childish, dude? I just wanted to share that.
What if you were on a phone
If you
call,
ever-
though?
People who listen to this podcast, if you ever like, why is Matt so quiet? It's because we're not recording on Monday or Tuesday. That's why.
I feel like I have to be quiet as well. It's really weird when you hear somebody whispering. You're like, "Wait, I don't need to whisper," but you're whispering. So I'm like, "Oh, hey."
And I'm gonna say I'm a pretty good roommate, right? Like, I don't do anything. I don't even go outside my room most of the time unless I'm cooking, right? Like, he has the living room, whatever. He even notices that he has a living room. He's like, "Oh man, you don't come out here. I would lower your rent or whatever." I was like, "No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to fucking
your
do
rent?
that." Like yeah, because I don't
hanging
really,
out.
Yeah, I don't really use it. And he always asks me why don't I come out? And I'm like, I just like,
Because you're a
I just like
motherfucker.
the thing is, it's, you have a roommate and it works, but if you can't talk about more than just the surface, then having a relationship that's deeper than just roommates is probably a bad idea. If all you're talking about is the frosting on the cake, you know, eventually you're going to have conversations about what's going on in the world or anything like that. And if you disagree with this stuff I would never say on this podcast that I had arguments with him about that are just like, wow, you know, the only ones I've mentioned is Trump. And if that gives you an idea, that gives you an idea. And he's a cool guy. It's just, he grew up different. Let's just say that.
So
Yeah.
I guess I should ask here. This is are we editing this out, or is
No,
this
no,
is
you
this
can-
the
you can
show?
keep it in.
This
You can
is
keep
this
it
is
in.
for the listeners.
This is for the listeners.
Wow,
It's for the listeners.
brave man.
Wait, you think he's listening to this right now?
I don't want to. Never say never.
Never say no. I mean, if
Never
he's
say
listening to this, to be honest, he's heard a lot more.
Just say hello. Hi. Hi there.
I'm complete. Yeah, hi. How you doing? I won't say his name.
He's looking at you right now.
I'm okay with confrontation, so I'll take it. I'll take it. This is for listeners to give you an idea. I've always shared my roommate situations, so there you go. This is why Matt's quiet.
I guess, I mean, I was hoping to record today because I feel, like energetic and hyper. I'm having a way better morning than yesterday when I had no sleep in me. I'm sleeping during the daytime again. Usually, I'm way deeper into Hitman, which is fantastic.
Ooh.
The level design has.
You're on level 2 now, right?
I'm on level 4.
Oh, okay.
Double the progress.
There's a lot more scripted events going on in this one. I don't know if you've also noticed this, Liam, but a lot of methods will have you following an NPC, waiting for them to say something, following them another chunk, and that's a little different from a traditional Hitman level. But one thing that I think is so impressive is that they have both methods in there. Like you can do the linear set piece scripted event, follow around an NPC from behind, waiting for them to trigger the next event, or follow completely different methodologies that are more sandbox and player driven than script driven. I actually wanted to use that as an excuse to segue into the news.
Wait.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna go on at least a 40-minute rant about Hitman 3.
Oh, it's good. It's so good. It is so good, in fact, that IO Interactive is capitalizing on the hype by releasing a bunch of positive news stories about how much money they're making off of this.
I'm so tainted by the games industry that I thought you were gonna say by celebrating by letting go of most of their staff.
Yeah.
Oh,
More money
actually,
for us.
literally the exact opposite. They've posted a bunch of new job openings. They want to double their staff. They're opening a second studio in Sweden.
The Bond.
And did some fun interviews. Yeah, they're massively upscaling to take on all the high production values they want to do for this James Bond project.
Heck yeah.
Holy shit.
They've released some details in interviews, and they're technically an indie game developer now too. Like, if you want to get literal with the words, they have been releasing some details about these business moves, as well as what the actual pitch was like. Like, I was real curious about that last week. This week, the studio head Hakan Abrak has revealed some details on how that meeting went. So they met up with the granddaughter, I believe, of Albert Broccoli was the guy's name, the author who originally wrote the James Bond novels,
What?
right?
No. What are you talking about? That's wrong.
He was something Broccoli, wasn't he?
Yeah, it could be Broccoli. He was the producer for most of the James Bond films. Ian Fleming.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, Ian Fleming's the author, Albert Broccoli is the producer. I got them backwards.
Forgiven.
But yeah, apparently the Broccoli's are the ones who are holding the rights at this moment.
Yes.
The Barbara Broccoli granddaughter was the one who they had to give the pitch to.
Yeah, she runs it now, so.
I can't fucking believe this, but she has like the same opinion on the James Bond video games that I think I had tweeted some frustrations about, where she did not feel that the previous games were worthy enough and that they were violence for the sake of violence. So when IO Interactive gave their whatever presentation they must have done, and they apparently did focus on how their vision of the character and how you would turn that into a video game would not just be the first person shooter violent gun porn that the previous James Bond games are more focused about. This is at least we have a quote from one of the producers saying that Barbara Broccoli said that this was not violence for violence's sake,
which is good.
So leading into that, and I can't believe we don't have this in the news story, considering just briefly about Bond. Did you guys see today's news?
No.
A working build of GoldenEye 007's cancelled Xbox 360 remaster was leaked online, fully playable.
I did.
On PC.
I did see that.
You can play the whole.
Wait, what?
The whole of GoldenEye, a whole brand new remake of GoldenEye.
Wait, what?
On the PC. Yeah. People have been playing it today. I'm trying to download it myself. It looks awesome.
The story of that and why it got canceled like folds into how confusing the rights are, because with GoldenEye in particular, like, isn't there some legal dispute over if Rare has like redistribution and remake rights? Like, that's why they couldn't include it in the Rare collection, because they also didn't know if Nintendo had like some sort of exclusivity to that project.
But it does what Halo does, which is you can press I think it's the RB button in this, and then swap between the original GoldenEye and then the remake GoldenEye. It's fucking great.
Wait, they remade the graphics? I didn't know that.
They remade.
Oh my god, they remade the graphics! Holy shit! Look at that.
It's obviously still like alpha, beta, or whatever, but holy shit, it looks amazing.
It kind of does look like a texture pack for an emulator, because it's all low poly with high-res texture.
How cool is that? I can't believe some guys back in the day made this and then never got released. And you're like, oh, move on to the next thing. God damn, game development sometimes.
That's the industry, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's so cool. Also, how could you not like this game? How could she not like this game? Like, out of all of the Bond games.
I don't know if you've played Perfect Dark afterwards, but there's a lot of reasons why playing GoldenEye felt... I will be the devil's advocate here and put myself in the target's crosshair here. GoldenEye felt pretty fucking aged a couple years after launch.
Yeah, but the world is not enough, which was the game that came after GoldenEye, which didn't get the plaudits GoldenEye got.
It didn't.
And was a great game too.
I feel like that is one of the great disservices of our times and injustice to the character, because that game actually did have some spy stealthy
it was great
stuff.
It was made by EA, developed by Eurocom. It was a great game. And I really liked it. The opening level is awesome.
GoldenEye, as classic as it is, I feel might not have aged as well as people might remember if they do pick up the controllers and play nowadays. That is like the first level. I don't think I'm alone on that.
The first level of The World Is Not Enough is literal James Bond spy stuff. You break into a bank and pretending to be somebody else.
I thought the first level was the ice level.
Everyone's forgotten about it. When James Bond does actual James Bond stuff, everyone forgets about it. When James Bond is in like the Nintendo 64's solution to Doom, everyone loves it. It's the most memorable game of that generation. And
I don't know.
They invented
good,
console multiplayer.
When you're driving a tank down St. Petersburg, it's awesome. Or Moscow. It's great. Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if they changed up the controls, though, because the controls were also very specifically made for the N64 controller, which has not become the standard over the years.
Also, I really liked the GoldenEye Wii HD remake as well. That was awesome.
And one of the reasons that was so different in a completely original version of GoldenEye and not an actual remake of the Rare game is because people were so confused over who has the rights to that thing. Yeah.
And that was a complete like remake remaster thing.
And there's a level in that where you go to a dance club and it is the most James Bond level ever, and it's good. It's fucking good.
And Deadmau5 is playing.
Anyways, IO Interactive is making James Bond, and it's not violence for violence's sake. Maybe you'll sneak into a club and pretend to be someone else's. Right.
Hitman is literally violence for violence's sake.
Oh, no.
Good on them. Well done. Congratulations, IO.
The other news story, very, very quick news stories this week, because the big news was, of course, GameStop stocks and Robinhood disallowing people to trade it, and that kind of sort of inflaming.
Was that the big news, though, George? Or was it?
I don't think people got as excited about Google shutting down its internal Stadia game studio.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, this is still big, important news that, is pointing towards what kind of future we can expect out of the industry, but less exciting than the stock meme jokes. Haha. Yeah, I guess this is kind of sort of a sad thing, not necessarily unexpected.
Not unexpected, but you're right. Sad. People lost their jobs. Agreed.
Does limit the amount of directions that video games themselves and those people doing their jobs can do in the future. Google has shut down its internal Stadia game development studios in Montreal and Los Angeles. The closure will impact around 150 developers. The company says it will try to find those developers new roles at Google. Jade Raymond, apparently a big celebrity ex-Ubisoft Assassin's Creed developer, was caught in the crossfires and is exiting the company. They're going to continue to offer Stadia. This doesn't mean Stadia is closing down, which would be really, really big news if that were to happen less than 2
record time.
Years after launching the service. Yeah, even the Ouya would have held on longer than Stadia.
But how long did it take OnLive to go down?
OnLive was definitely fat. Did OnLive even make release? I had an OnLive because I got it for free. It didn't work.
Yeah, they had that $1 deal.
No, I went to Eurogamer Expo, and you could just literally go to their booth and they would hand you the console with the controller.
What?
Ooh.
Yeah.
What?
So that was swag? That was technically swag.
It was swag. But you got a console that didn't work because internet wasn't fast enough at the time. The idea was there, but the execution?
Yeah.
Not too great.
That's the thing about these streaming services, because there are good ideas. I would really love to see a demo marketplace operate like this. Like if you keep your expectations low and your budget low and you have the internet speed for it, there are totally solutions that playing games like this could fit into someone's life, like a turn-based game, a turn-based strategy game that incorporates some kind of massively multiplayer features that make advantage of the streaming platform could turn out very well. But we're not likely to see those because the one company that has enough money to actually make that dream come true has horrifically mismanaged it.
You're exactly right, George. I find it actually egregiously annoying that the company with the most money in the world, who were able to wait this out and make sure that whatever games these studios were making comes out, and then seeing instead of canceling, why would they shut them down? It's so annoying. It's really fucking sad.
It shows a disinterest in games at some higher levels, but at the same time, they hired up all these people like Jade Raymond, who obviously have made it their life's passion.
Yeah, how can you do that and then not at least follow through on one game? It's
yeah. And supposedly Stadia is not good still, so that doesn't help.
Well, one of the problems they've always had, and I think OnLive also did this too, is that they don't market streaming as the dirt cheap McDonald's fast food version of gaming that I think is actually the target market they want to be aiming for. Because if you spend I do not regret at all buying Saints Row 3 for $1 on OnLive, and in fact, the weirdness of that ended up becoming a weirdly precious memory in the development of my life. Now that it's been 10 years, I can look back on it with retrospect and be like, that was a really funny, weird, strange service. It had a very weird, questionably unprivate option where people could watch your game stream and comment on it. And there was a fun story about me playing as a naked Billy Mays and someone randomly breathing in the mic saying, "So you like bears, huh?" While I was playing. That's a funny story that wouldn't have happened on any other platform. It was only $1. It was laggy and it was blurry, but it was only $1. It was just $1.
It's free. Almost free, Matt.
It was almost free. God. Basically free. I mean, you could say it was free, actually.
No, it sounds more expensive than Game Pass, to be honest.
Yeah.
The $1. All right.
I'll buy that for $1.
$1 is still supposed to represent however much labor and resources it costs to make a fast food hamburger, but on the McDonald's dollar menu, that's definitely not free. There's no such thing as a free dollar menu item.
I mean, it's basically free though. You know what I miss about OnLive and those streaming services is like when you could just like have this big, I guess like screen of like some Matrix-esque, the
thumbnail
everyone
gallery.
who's playing OnLive.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can watch them. You can just jump in on their stream.
That's how I got the bear man.
He
He clicked on me from the grid, and I guess mine looked more interesting than the others because there was a fat white guy with the pixelated genitals body slamming people in the streets.
So it was the beginnings of Twitch.
Justin TV.
Yeah. If there was ever a service that could charge people $1 to play shittier streaming versions of video games, if there was ever a company that could eat that loss, it was not OnLive, it was Google.
Yeah.
Imagine if they did that. The sales strategy that like won me over a little bit for OnLive. Imagine if Google was handing out $1 game codes for Stadia. That would have changed a lot of minds.
Do you remember that when Stadia came out, it was $129.
Mm-hmm. Nail in the coffin before it was even out.
Fuck me.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, rest in peace.
R.I.P. to those the 150 developers, right?
Well, they'll go on to better places, I imagine. I hope so anyway. Good luck, guys.
Instead of developing games for Google, they can spend their newfound free time writing in questions to the Dad and Sons podcast.
Yes.
At gmail.com.
We are opening up our game design studio. We've collated all of the Dad and Sons Dad Den ideas. And
Very, very important one to begin us off here as we plan our early projects here at the Dad and Sons Game Studio and OK Game Studio. Mr. Bubbles is going to help us draw some concept art for our first female characters right now. Mr. Bubbles on our Patreon question channel actually says, Dad and Sons, do you feel like people are getting too horny about video games nowadays? This talk over the vampire lady is the current hotness, but I feel like all the characters in the Final Fantasy VII remake were made to bait this shit too, and to a smaller extent Hades. Maybe I'm a prude and I'm probably nitpicking, but this funny stuff seems to be in a lot more places than it used to be.
Yeah, man.
I love this question. I fucking love this question.
And it's not just guys. Women tweet this shit out too. So
I think that's actually the answer to the question, is that video games, I think, used to be hornier, but to, a more capitalizable taste demographic.
Yeah, deprived men in basements.
I'm going to throw it out there and say it's a trend.
Yeah,
you think
it's
so?
a trend, yeah.
Yep. Because people are like horny and shipping characters that are not sexualized, and it's more imaginary based trending, like shipping
Bowsette.
fan art on Twitter and stuff like that. Honestly, I think it's more to do with not the actual games and how they're developed. Yes, in Hades you have relationships and stuff like that, but then the fan base takes it another way. And obviously the Resident Evil lady is designed to be somewhat a mature, sexy lady, but she is also a gross teethed vampire that's 9 foot tall. But I definitely think there is an element of it's
sexy.
Cool to be doing this kind of thing now.
Okay, so I remember the 90s. And I remember the Audis.
We're not talking about Leisure Suit Larry.
I think that the penultimate example, because I'm sure there was at least one that has to be worse, but when I think back on video game horniness being problematic, I think of the Prince of Persia Warrior Within. And how this sequel to the Prince of Persia reboot, Sands of Time, was the reboot was played fairly straight. You had your female sidekick. There was a shower scene towards the end of the game, but like it was played fairly maturely and respectably. But then they make a sequel. They they ramp up production, hire some new developers, and need to sell more copies, and feature a bunch of like leather bikini babes as some of the boss characters, and of course the pre-release marketing material all focuses on them and their costumes.
Don't you feel that's a different thing though?
It is, totally. I feel like that it feels, and also when you like look back at the tradition of booth babes and how that has gone away, and just like how much of the video game magazine world was devoted to babes. IGN had a babes section. Games Radar had a sexy fan art section. I think the thing that's different nowadays, and this might kind of have started happening around the age of Bayonetta, when Hideki Kamiya gets a woman to design the sexy babe character instead of a man, you start to see that shift where like the horniness is still there, maybe even more so than it used to be, but at least it's like, you know, women and others who are going to be looking at these characters and their arousing potential from a different medium that almost sort of makes it like better. Because like Bayonetta is totally a sexy babe character, but she feels way better done than the stuff we got back in the 90s and the early aughties.
I mean, you're right? With horniness versus sexualization are two different things, right?
Her femininity is the way she attacks characters. Like that's a kind of a different way of designing a Lara Croft type, where it's a male fantasy, the Indiana Jones shooting things with guns, but slapped onto a female character with big boobs. Like she fights things with her long hair.
She's
her
sexy,
long feminine hair.
Part of her character is being mature and sexy, similar to the Resident Evil lady. But I think in terms of like shipping and horniness, I honestly think it's kind of a trend. I don't know how long that kind of feelings, like you see people doing it with Animal Crossing and stuff like that. That stuff is absolutely intended not to be seen that way by the developers or whatever. But of course, internet takes what internet wants, and it's kind of like, I think it's like another avenue of people showing their sexuality in certain ways. Like obviously on Twitter and stuff like that, now we have a lot of support across the the spectrum of people who are bisexual or transsexual, and they're like it's like another outlet for them to be able to talk about characters that are maybe not what the norm is, like what you were saying, George, like that 90s like Lara Croft sexualization, etc., right?
I'm so glad the norm is over. Like I think this horniness is so much better when it's from people who can appreciate different body types and different personality types.
Yeah, I've seen a few memes of like short guys dating a tall Amazon and stuff like that.
The Amazon fetish.
Yeah, Amazon fetish.
Yeah. Ari, Resident Evil totally knows what they're doing. And this isn't the first time either. Like the Resident Evil series has had Jill Valentine wear all sorts of costumes that would give Bayonetta a blush or two.
So yeah, I think big difference is sexualization versus, actual attraction, and also just in general fan service and the way the internet does it, even with things that aren't meant to be like that. That itself, I think, is a trend. I think it's cool to make art like that. I think it gets reception on Twitter really well, of course, cosplay as well. I do think ultimately it's mostly a trend, but I'm happy for people to be able to express themselves in a sort of new and unique way. How many people are into 9-foot women? I guess the whole world is right now, it seems.
Yeah.
Oh, they released her measurements. She really is 9 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's tall as fuck, man. Yeah.
It was actually Capcom.
Yeah. They're like, oh, thank you for your support and shit like that. And they're like, oh, here's how tall she is.
Thank you for your service.
We're going to make her even taller now.
9 feet tall with heels and hat.
So yeah, I don't think the horniness has ever gone away so much as the horniness is like an inescapable fact of making... It's also multi-million-dollar pop culture being sold to an audience of a lot of, horny young people. This has been around since the turn of the 80s and the 90s, when I think video games started getting marketed more towards teenagers and boys than gender-neutral children. But I think there's totally a different vibe when the horniness is being capitalized by people who aren't the young horny men themselves, and that this actually gives the rest of us more interesting ways to explore what arouses us, the human condition of
Wow, George.
feeling. Well, one of the things that I think is really important to point out here is that characters like Lady Drusilla, or however her name is pronounced, and Bayonetta, they like wear clothes. Like that was the big controversy in the 90s and the turn of the millennium was all the women characters who were sexy babes that were supposed to represent some kind of liberating female sexuality. They didn't have a lot of clothes on them, and now artists have figured out, especially when Overwatch came out, artists have figured out how to make like really horny, sexy characters that are baiting for the fan art and have them wear clothes. Like they have struck a totally different kind of balance and style than...
Imagine the SpongeBob gif. Just imagination. It's a powerful tool.
Showing off just enough of the shoulders and the thighs to make the rest of the outfit even hotter. That's how they do it nowadays. Yeah, I don't think something like Hades could have happened in the 90s. Where like a lot of the horny characters that people are fawning over like hairy male bear types. That was definitely an undermarketed block when we were growing up as kids.
Can't fancy a Minotaur.
When we were growing up,
just not allowed.
When we were growing up as kids,
Minotaurs were not allowed.
Inadvertently using this stuff to figure it all out on the way. The kids nowadays have a much more robust platter to sample from.
And that's it. And therefore, the Dad and Sons podcast solved sexuality and fan service on the internet forever.
It's the circle of life. Chemo Force says, Dear Dad and Sons, I hope you three are doing well. I'm sure you've tried organizing your stuff alphabetically before for whatever reason, but how do you feel about titles that start with the in the name? Do you prefer to list titles with the taken into consideration and then sort all the titles based on the first word after the? Or do you prefer ordering them by completely ignoring the and placing them on your lists according to the first word after the?
I appreciate the question. I don't have any physical copies of anything.
I mean, do you call it Binding of Isaac or do you call it The Binding of Isaac?
Right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, is it The Half-Life or Half-Life?
No, it's just Half-Life.
Yeah, it's just Half-Life.
Is it? Are you sure? Are you sure it's not The Half-Life?
Oh, please, Liam, don't break my brain.
I swear, I've never seen... we would have noticed by now, right?
Can you imagine if I wasn't messing around with you and you actually Googled it and all of a sudden it said The Half-Life and you were like, what the fuck?
I'm Googling now because this is a big SEO issue, actually. Like when coming up with names of stuff, you really want to keep this into consideration because if you name your something the, it's going to show up every other game that begins with the before you...
Yeah, for anybody asking, it's not the Dad and Sons podcast, it's Dad and Sons podcast.
So The Messenger is a recent release that did perfectly fine despite being named the.
Yeah, and people just call it Messenger, right?
Elder Scrolls is the Elder Scrolls, believe it or not, but no one calls it that. The Forest, everyone says The Forest. If you called it Forest, no one would know what to search for. I imagine that game might have had some trouble getting into people's search results because a name like The Forest is so vague.
Yeah.
You
usually have to add game at the end of your search. The Forest game, and then all of a sudden it'll pop up.
Because then it'll just give you directions to the forest. I have never, seriously organized my big YouTube wall of video game physical copies that I totally own. I've never had enough to face this problem, but I think if I did, I would include it with the. I hate to say it, and it would annoy me, but I feel like it would save more time at the end of the day to have all my the games sorted in the T section.
Steam ignores the and a.
Yeah.
Because a short hike appears in S. And the Stanley Parable appears in S. And you don't say the Stanley Parable, right? We say Stanley Parable.
Yeah. The Stanley Parable was the.
I would totally do it by Steam standards. I would not do it by the.
Your physical collection?
If I had a physical connection.
But you would no, because that would fuck me up. Because if you looked at the spines, it'd be like SSSSSS the S, SSSSS the S. That would really fuck me up.
I ultimately think that I wouldn't be able to remember what I had chosen myself, so I would pick the more straightforward one, because on a per game basis, if I chose not to go with there's a 50-50 chance it would be on a different shelf, thus taking twice the time to find something. So, and also, whatever physical game collection you have on the shelf is going to be a hell of a lot smaller than the entire Steam library.
Is it Evil Within or The Evil Within?
Oh, it's totally The Evil Within. It's Elder Scrolls, and it's Stanley Parable, but it's The Forest and The Evil Within. No arguments there. It's
Going back to
subjectively
Matt's
true.
one, is it Binding of Isaac or The Binding of Isaac? Or The Binding of Isaac?
I've heard people use both.
I think the more complicated the words after the are, the less necessary the is. But if it's just like the noun, the messenger, the forest, it's going to sound way too vague if you just go with the noun by itself. Adding the is the spice you need to make it sound like an official name, that it's a product people are buying with money.
I think so. Like archivists and the Video Game History Foundation, how do they do it? Most recently, The Medium came out. And I imagine that is The Last of Us, or is it Last of Us?
The Medium. That game right there got some issues, man. I was looking forward to that game.
Oh, no.
I was really looking forward to that game.
Well,
is it The Metal Gear Solid, George?
No, it's not. Every time you've asked me, it's something where it's obviously not the... Oh, God, I have to go to the bathroom all of a sudden.
Is it The P or the...
I'll be right back. You guys want to move on to the next question while I'm peeing for a few seconds?
do.
Absolutely.
Oh, no. It's Arcadian.
What did you do to the doc?
I don't know. I think he deleted it. He didn't want us to read that one. But then we have to read one from this idiot. Arcadian. On the Patreon. A good reason not to join the Patreon. Arcadian asks, do any of you struggle when updating or changing your profile pictures and avatars across different platforms because you're not 100% sure the image you have chosen represents you accurately?
I just put a picture of myself.
I do find it hard to change profile pictures.
Yeah.
Because there are not that many good pictures of me, because I don't have many pictures of me anyway.
I don't either. But every now and then, I'm at some person's place, and we take a picture, and I'm doing something stupid, and I put it on my I put it on my profile.
Have you ever had that weird situation where you haven't seen a photo of you in a long time, and yes, you look in the mirror every day, but looking in the mirror doesn't truly reflect kind of what you look like to yourself. And then one day you'll take a photo, maybe 6 months or a year after whatever the last one was, and you're like, oh my God,
I gotta get back to the gym. Yeah.
What has happened to me?
What did I come back to? This is horrifying.
And then you'll be like, that profile photo, if anybody met me, they think I'm catfishing.
This is why I'm scared to get back to dating again after the pandemic, because you're supposed to have like fairly recent photos of you doing something interesting, because you don't want to look like a boring person.
No, that should be totally a rule. Like pre-pandemic photos should still be what's allowed on Tinder instead of post-pandemic photos. And then you just have like a gentleman's agreement that when you meet, you don't ever bring it up.
Because I both of those qualifiers, a photo that's recent and of me doing something interesting, but the whole year does not qualify. Like, that was impossible. It would have been impossible to take a photograph of that happening at all.
I think you should just screen cap the Valve Index video of you in like grayscale, George, and just post that.
It wasn't in grayscale. Okay, hang on. I also want to point out that in the bathroom when I was in the shower, I thought of something just now. The data awards. That's totally the data awards. That begins with the. I'm going to throw that in the T section of my physical library. Anyways, that's all.
Is it the library. Game Awards or Game Awards? It's the Game Awards.
It's the Game Awards.
Because it was the TGAs, right?
Yeah. And the subtitle was not long and complicated enough.
Is it the profile photo or profile photo?
Photo of me doing something uninteresting in 2020 Yeah.
I'll take some like action photos of you like getting bread from Publix or something.
Yeah, I think that would
Yeah,
be nice.
that's actiony, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
I
oh
could,
man,
like,
you're
flex my arm
outside.
muscles.
Wearing,
Dude, girls love it when you only take one trip to put the groceries away.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
We
I-
could take some photos of that.
Yeah.
I
You
will
just-
admit, I changed my profile photo recently over the weekend.
Huh.
A screen cap of some footage I took. But I kind of like that you can get away with wearing a mask in profile photos now.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Memorable.
So in my most recent profile photo, I'm wearing a mask because I'm outside. I kind of like it. You don't have to worry about smiling or whether you're exposing too many teeth or if you look sad. You're giving away with your eyes how you're feeling in that emotion.
Windows to the soul.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
right?
COVID can't go through those.
No.
They're not the windows to your respiratory system.
This is terrible, guys.
Well,
This
it
is
might be.
terrible. No. I want to see the whole face.
Well, I think the masks.
Just because you
whole
have the
face.
most glorious beard known to man doesn't mean that we.
Listen. The mask only covers this portion here. I can't put it over this beard, or else
Exactly. That's what I mean. That's why you
want.
want to take a photo with that thing in its full glory. Because I've got this goofy ass tooth and smile. Whereas if I'm like this, it's just all in the eyes, baby.
There is beauty in imperfections, Liam.
The hairs of your beard are fine-toothed enough to filter the COVID vaccine out of the air anyway.
Yeah, it can't get through to you.
I think the masks provide an important artistic outlet for the profile picture artist. I think that the masks give the profile picture artist another place to put some kind of memorable design or color scheme that gets you to remember that person's picture and associate it with their personality.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I worry about the stupid aspects of it, which is when you change your profile photo, right? I don't look at people's names on Twitter. I recognize people by their profile photo, right, when I see
Really?
tweets. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So I worry that people will be like, who's this new guy? I'm like, it's me.
I'm colorblind. I'm also famously face blind. Like, I don't know if we've ever had this We have, actually, because when I was watching Rome, all the white people looked the same to me. Yeah, no, I'm really face blind.
George for president.
I'll have you know that I am face blind and slightly colorblind. So
Can you imagine if he came out, Matt, would it suffice to you and be like, I can't be racist. I'm face blind.
Right.
I'm face blind and colorblind. How can I tell who you are and what color you
for
are?
American presidents in particular, those might be two important qualities to have. But yeah, I remember people by their name.
I mean, you are colorblind, George, and I am kind of light. That time we met at Publix, did you just think I was
you
a
think
white
he
man
was
with
white?
a beard?
Why? Well, you didn't have as much of a beard back then.
Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't. Man, we've known each other for a long ass time. Holy shit!
That was one of the things I was going to mention. What I really liked about seeing Matt evolve is I saw him every week. Yet people, obviously, you kind of disappeared from the YouTube space, and then all of a sudden, once we started doing more podcasting, you returned to Twitter a little bit with a new profile with a massive beard. Obviously, shaved your hair,
Yeah.
right? People are like, oh my god, who's this beefcake over here?
It's just like a red-green. Hard to compare the two. It's not like I'm living in black and white over here.
You totally live in black and white, George.
Okay,
I'm white. It's like it's in the Simpsons episode.
Liam says I'm white.
Carl White, Lenny Black, Liam White, Matt
I've
Black.
been white the whole time, George. The whole time. I've just been saying the N-word just because I'm a racist.
because he's a racist.
George is recoiling. It's
there's nothing I can say. You know, this is one of those situations where silence is a valid option.
Thanks, Arcadian. Thank you.
Oh my god. We accidentally deleted a question, George.
I'll press the undo button for us. Hey dads! With Adobe Flash now officially discontinued, do any of you have good memories playing browser games back in the day? I didn't have any fancy consoles growing up, but I did have a PC with a web browser. What
Hell
Flash
yeah.
games do you have good memories of? Thank you,
Fuck
Maple Strip.
Yes. Fuck
Yes.
yes. I love this question.
This
I
was
grew
an
up on
important
Newgrounds.
part of being a millennial. Was
Yes.
playing.
Mhm.
That was like indie games.
Yes.
We have had difficult conversations over where mods and Flash games have gone, and it's towards products people are selling for money and buying for money instead.
You should play these games in school, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
mini clip, like
Mhm.
loads of like the Motocross
football
Madness, the Trials game before Trials, and
Yeah.
oh man,
yeah.
Newgrounds. Like what I love seeing as well. Obviously, everybody knows the story of like Newgrounds and Egoraptor and other creators on there, you know, Ross and everything. But you know, the fact that Tom Fulp, the guy who made Newgrounds, then went on to make Castle Crashers out of Alien Hominid, but also not only that, the Super Flash Brothers, who made the Decline of Video Gaming, but also made some. I think it was Zelda and the Lampshade was one of their Flash games they made. They went on to make Snipper Clips and Tangle Tower. Like, people actually progressed from making Flash games on those websites into being indie developers. I find that so cool. Like, I
Man.
grew up on Newgrounds. It was my go-to before YouTube. Absolutely every day.
It's so hard to believe that the Super Flash Brothers are some of the same talent behind Snipper Clips, because like if
It's
you go back
amazing.
and look at those cartoons, speaking of things that haven't aged well,
That's so bad, but so good. I love them so much. The E3 episode where they go to E3 is literally still hilarious to me. I don't know why the Konami executive is really stupid. I hired a ninja. I'm dialing a banana. I don't know why it's funny, but it's still like heartwarmingly dumb and stupid to me. And I miss that era of like being on the internet and everything was like, everything's gonna be okay. I miss
we're
that.
gonna have jobs in the future. Yeah, the crew behind Homestar Runner went on to do children's television. They made Yo Gabba Gabba. A lot of the famous people from the Flash world grew up and had futures. That's cool. There's a clear line of delineation between indie game development and Flash game development,
Oh
and
man, Decline of Video Gaming 3 has over 1,800,000 views on Newgrounds. It's so cool.
I spent way too much time as a kid playing Water Balloon Drop in 1999. Back when Hamster Dance was popular. That was my first big Flash game. One of the most impressive games I think I've ever played in my life was the Adult Swim Flash game called Westerado, where they made a Fallout-style top-down RPG set in a Wild West setting.
Do you remember when Cartoon Network were making their own Flash games as well? That used to be on Cartoon Network.
Adult Swim was a fantastic.
God, yeah. I was talking about this the other day with somebody. They made like a Smash Brothers clone with the Cartoon Network characters and everything. And that was a precursor to a DS game they made later. There was also there was a Newgrounds Flash game as well. I think that was literally a Dragon Ball Z Smash game that played amazing.
They were crazy ambitious.
People are so talented. It's
what
awesome.
Flash was intended for, which is an animation cartoon thing. Making a video game in Flash is not the way Flash is meant to be utilized. So all of that was also like extra impressive on that level.
Pouring one out for Flash.
Oh, I found it.
Yeah?
Joe Cartoons.
Yeah. Oh, that's a blast from the past. Holy crap.
Joe
Cartoon. That's some middle school internet history.
Yeah, dude. Joe Cartoons, Salad Fingers, all of those, man.
Oh, God, yeah.
Romp.com.
Burnt Face Man.
My childish brain enjoyed all that creepy shit. Oh, my God.
Gerbil in a microwave. Oh, God.
Dude, Joe Cartoons.
Oh, and here's Hillary Clinton in a blender. Yeah, that's that's certainly aged well.
Yeah, no.
Oh, God.
Yeah, a lot of these are yeah.
But these are real cultural artifacts. Like, I remember some kind of shock Flash cartoon. I think it was from Kill Frog, where they were making jokes about invading Iraq a good 2-3 years before it ended up happening.
There used to be a lot of bad cartoons, yeah.
Yeah, it was totally an outlet for edgy schlock as well. And I'm wondering, like, if the edgy schlock you see on Steam is worse because there's real money involved. It felt safe to ignore when there wasn't real money involved for all the like really awful, violent, threatening content that was on Newgrounds. Since there wasn't any money changing hands, it felt like it didn't matter.
It was a good time.
It's a good time. Things
Yeah,
are simple.
you know, on top of that, still really impressive game projects,
Yeah.
art, animation, and
I miss it.
and the wild west of edgy, schlocky shock content as well, along with that.
I miss it. I had Newgrounds back in the day, man. Just, oh, God.
I was about to ask a really dumb question, which is like, are the kids going to be okay without Newgrounds? And honestly, they're probably better off without Newgrounds. But honestly, that hole
They have
has
worse.
been...
They
They do.
worse, I
That
think.
hole has been filled by worse influences that I hope go away at some point over the years. Well, at least the Dad and Sons OK podcast is actively trying to not be a bad influence.
You said the. We banned it. Remember, it's Dad and Sons. No the.
Yeah.
Do you see it?
Yeah,
there was-
there never was a the. I'm looking at the official JPEGs in my podcast art folder, and I don't see a the there. So that means it's just Dad and Sons.
So send an email to dadandsons.com.
Yeah, it's the dadandsonspodcast at gmail.com.
No, it's not. It's dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com.
What if we go with Dad and Sons, the OK podcast?
I do kind of like that.
It does mean that we are the OK, the number OK podcast, the number
Yeah.
one.
The number infinite, like
Yeah.
the loop. Because that makes us sound like
The Side Was 8 podcast.
we're the one and only OK podcast. If we are
Yeah.
the OK podcast,
We are definitely the only one OK podcast
Well-
you need in your life. Then all the other ones can be good.
Do you guys think in a year or two, when we're due for another rebranding effort, we should become Dad and Sons the OK podcast?
Oh,
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
about the OK podcast, Dad and Son? Can we make it like a Kingdom Hearts name? The OK podcast, Dad and Sons _ 12.5. Yeah, final remix. Final remix.
Final remix.
That's the final joke of today's episode. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for waking up on a Wednesday and recording. Sorry for